5, woken to a freezing morning. All our drinking water's frozen. My boots frozen solid. Can't move them at all. Downloaded the weather forecast on the inReach this morning. Not looking that great. Had a message from the other guys who brought us in on their boat, and they've seen the same weather forecast, and they've decided to bunk out of here on Thursday morning. So today's Tuesday. Yeah, so we've got today and tomorrow to make it back down. I'll get a map out later and show you what our plan is. But the forecast has changed from rain to heavy snow and gales, and it's not due to come fine until the day we have to get out of here anyway, so there's no point in hanging around in that muck. So yeah, I think decision is probably inevitable, and we'll see what happens. We'll come up with a plan a bit later on and fill you in. Well, it's 9 o'clock. See, the weather's starting to clag in a bit. The wind has turned and is up over Ekazi, so it's we're not going to spend too much longer up here. It's time to start thinking about getting off the tops with this weather coming in. Currently we came up here and we are here at the moment, so we're going to come down this gut here, follow this all the way down and come to this beach here. The guys in their boat are here, so they're going to come round on Thursday morning and pick us up on the way back to town now. So we've got 2 days to head back. If we go from here back this way, I mean, it's just going to be 2 days of solid slogging. So I think we come down this way here, so we'll get to do a little bit more hunting, and the scenery might be a bit different, probably be a bit boggy around here. We'll see you later. We've also got to get down a bit lower too, so we've run out of water. Find the water source. See you. Well, here we are, folks. We've come down from, there's the edge of the saddle there. Come down over this ridge. Had a look up a few guts here. Just come down in here, topping up the water. I have to run a bit low. Take you up here. Some of the clearest water you'll ever see.
Yeah, got all this stuff, mate. It's so bloody clear and gorgeous.
Crystal clear water, super chilled, just how we like it. Yeah, awesome stuff. Great country here, definitely big boys club stuff. We've probably got about another 2, maybe 3 hours walk today, and then that'll be it. We'll be on the edge of the bush. We'll set up camp there, ready for our dash tomorrow down to our exit point. Just stop for some lunch back there. hour or so old. We think they're running along the faces, going over. So we've had a look over there. The gullies on this side are just amazing. We're not sure where that one's run to, but the wind's been a bit swirly up until now. It's just flicked around to coming back into our face. So we'll stop for a bite of lunch. Then we're going to move on. I think the rain's coming. We're going to get wet in the next hour or two. But oh well. Spiker. Yeah, happy camper now. Just shot a hind up here. About to go and get it. It looks like a big bugger. We're going to struggle to get this one out, but we'll bring as much as we can. Yeah, but yeah, we've been coming down this dry riverbed. Well, it's actually not dry, the river runs under it all, pops out further down. Yeah, and yeah, so we'll go and get this thing. Yeah, and I guess we're going to be eating well tonight.
Well, Russell, congratulations, you shot your first wapiti. How do you feel, mate?
Brilliant, awesome.
It was a bit of a slog to get up there, mate, and up onto the hills and on the tops.
At least we shot it on the way down, not on the way up.
Well, it looks like she's a big hind.
Heavy bag now.
Yeah, 1.5 days trampy, mate. It's a lot of meat to carry out. All right.
Worth it though.
Worth it.
That's our way out down that way. So we've got one day tomorrow to get out. I think it's going to be a bit of a soldier's march, and it's going to be a heavy soldier's march now. We're heavy on the way in and heavy on the way out. So here we go. Well, last day today. Time to walk out. Time to say goodbye to the valley. A bit of light rain overnight. We did the naughtiest of naughties for camping next to this dry riverbed, but as you can see it turns into a raging torrent if there's some water around. We had the camp right next to it. It's the only site we could find, and it was getting dark after dealing with the animals. So yeah, got all the meat packed away, pushing 60 plus kilos on that pack now. Not looking forward to today, but both Dale and I got a fair load on. I guess it'll just make it taste even sweeter when we get to eat it. So the forecast today is for the rain to clear and back to a bit of sun, but howling gales. And then tomorrow's to turn to absolute trash. Yeah, so the other guys who have picked us up in the boat, they might make a dash for it tonight, depending on what time we get down there. Hopefully we get down there about 3:30, 4 o'clock this evening, and we'll go from there. We've got in touch with them on the Garmin InReach, so we'll see what they have to say and what their progress is like too. They'll be down at the other campsite this evening too. we'll touch base again. See you all at the bottom. The penultimate day saw us set off from where we'd set up camp at the bottom of the basin with some extremely heavy packs. We knew we were in for a long day to get down to the lake edge that evening, and the going was tough. Scrambling over logs, through guts and creeks, and climbing up steep banks on the other side. It was slow going, but we made steady progress. Both the GPS and the topo map we had said that it was a steep but gradual descent down to the lake edge with a river crossing at the bottom and the last 500 metres just pushing through some swampy, boggy marsh. We made pretty slow but steady progress and stopped for a few breaks along the way, made sure we had our energy up and we were going to survive the day okay and not end up down there really exhausted. Unfortunately, we got to about a kilometre from the lake edge. We could see it and we were coming down the hill, and the hill just disappeared in front of us straight into a 200-foot drop. This wasn't marked on the map or the GPS, and we were faced with a bit of an issue with land either side of this cliff not conducive to getting around it at all. It was steep cliffs either side, and we were kind of in a difficult spot. We had about half an hour of daylight left, so we decided to head back up the hill to find a flat spot large enough for us to put the tent up and sleep the night, and we were going to reassess the situation in the morning. We started heading back up the hill, but quickly realised that with the heavy packs we weren't going to get very far, so we had to lighten the load and unfortunately ditch a bit of the venison. We found a spot well after dark. We headed uphill about 2.5 hours, found a spot, put the tent up, cooked a meal and hit the hay, get a good night's sleep in, ready for the next day. In the morning we downloaded a forecast on the inReach, and it basically said there was some weather coming in, raining, a bit of wind, just generally miserable but nothing untoward. And we had a look at the maps and tried to come up with a plan on what to do. With the latest forecast in hand, we thought our best option was probably to walk back up through the bush and get above the tree line again into the basin where Fiordland helicopters could possibly pick us up and take us out of the block. We messaged Daryl's wife on the inReach, and she phoned Fiordland helicopters to see if they could come and pick us up, but unfortunately that block is right on the edge of the no-fly zone. As it turns out, not an option. So we sat there and discussed things a bit, and basically we're looking at a 4 to 5 day walk out back round to where we came in, which would put us potentially 2 or 3 days overdue on coming out of the block. We had enough food to do this with rationing a bit. We were both warm, getting a bit tired, and the shelter was good, so we didn't have a problem with the weather so much coming in. It was just going to be a bit yuck and a bit miserable, and we just have to plan our assault over the tops to make sure we could get over and down the other side on a single day without having to camp out on the tops. In the meantime, Fiordland helicopters sent our details on to Southern Lakes District helicopters, which are the medevac helicopter for Fiordland area, and we basically got a message back from Daryl's wife saying there's really bad weather coming, you need to think about activating the PLB. And this was information being fed back from Fiordland helicopters and Southern Lakes District. We sat there, we discussed this for quite an option for quite a while about what we were going to do. We basically thought, well, if we can walk back up above the bushline, it'll just make it easier for the Southern Lakes to come and get us there. So we sent a message back saying this is what we would plan to do, and basically got told to activate the PLB, there's bad weather coming. So in the end, we activated the PLB, and within half an hour, the helicopter was there. The rescue helicopter was coming in on our beacon. It was unfortunately leading them in about 35-40 metres to our left each time, and we thought that they were basically looking for a spot to lower a guy down on the winch to come and sort us out. We had a big orange fly out in the bush, about 3 metres square, waving that around in the trees, but alas, they couldn't see it as it turned out. Even in the shadows under that bush, it hides a bright orange tarp like that. They said they had been watching up the ridge that we're on and basically couldn't see us, and we tried to make ourselves as visible as possible. So we got winched out of the bush. I went up first. These guys are putting their time and their lives on the line to come and help people. So yeah, got winched up on the line. The spinning under the prop wash was pretty severe, and it was hard to catch the skid. And we got up there and basically it stood us up on the skid and put a safety line on, and we just hung onto the side of the helicopter, and he flew off down to a little staging area and dropped me off, and went back and got Daryl and the winchman, and then they went back and got our packs and rifles. They were explaining to us that the forecast they had was for 150 to 200 mil of snow to come that night, which was completely different to the forecast that we had. And in hindsight, their forecast was right, and the one we had on the inReach was wrong. The next day, we looked up the weather stations there, and they'd actually had about 400 to 500 mil of snow at the tops there. I've got to tip my hat to the rescue crew. They're a very professional, friendly bunch of people. They know what they're doing. The whole process was very smooth and efficient. They dropped us off back at Te Anau Downs too at the car, so it was good we didn't have to come all the way back out from Te Anau to pick up the car. In hindsight, I mean, as much as when you push the button on the PLB, as the range of emotions hit you, it's like, oh, we failed, why are we doing this? It's like disappointment, shock, shame, a whole lot of these things come through. But after we got back and we saw what came through that night, in hindsight, we 100% made the right decision. We would have been walked up that day and got above the tree line, and we would have been stuck in the snow for 3 days waiting for the snow to melt enough so we could get over the rocky tops. As you will have seen in the footage, we're not smooth, it's pretty loose rocks, not rubble, and in snow that deep you wouldn't have been able to see where to put your feet. We would have most likely ended up with an injury. We're 100% happy with the decision we made to activate the PLB. Really had the support of the helicopter crew that we made the right decision as well, and of the police who later interviewed us as well. I guess the big learning curve that we got from being pulled out of the bush like that was a message that came from the helicopter crew, and I want to pass it on to you lot, and that's basically to say, as soon as you start to think or see that you're getting into trouble, activate your PLB. Don't wait and think, oh, we can backtrack, or we can go here, or we can do this, or we can do that. Because 9 times out of 10, you'll just end up in more trouble with an injury, or the weather's come in and you end up putting the helicopter at risk, the crew at risk, and yourselves at more risk as well. And it's a big bit of feedback we got from the helicopter guys, is that they're really happy that we did what we did early rather than waiting until later on when things could have been exponentially worse. They said it's a message that they struggle to get through to people, is the service is there for when you're in trouble, and they don't have any problem coming to get you when you're doing what you love and you're starting to find things are going to turn south on you a bit. They are a really good service, and like I say, if you are getting into trouble, use your PLB. That's what it's there for. It's there to help you out when you're in a spot of bother. Well, day after we've come out. This is looking up towards where we were. Jesus, white. The snow is probably 200 metres above lake level. Apparently it was about 100 mil, 150 mil up the tops last night. Reaffirms that we did the right thing to push the button. So, happy with that. But yeah, she's freezing today.